But that was only the calm before the storm. And now the veracity of the critics' stories rings clearly true for me. There is a Scientology directive called, quote, Critics of Scientology, unquote, written by Ron Hubbard in 1967, which has taken on particular meaning for me over the last few months. This is in part what it says. We are slowly and carefully teaching the unholy a lesson. It is as follows. We are not a law enforcement agency, but we will become interested in the crimes of people who seek to stop us. If you oppose Scientology, we promptly look up and find and expose your crimes. If you leave us alone, we will leave you alone. It's very simple. Even a fool can grasp that. And don't underrate our ability to carry it out, unquote. I can tell you from firsthand experience that you should not in any way underrate the amount of money Scientology is willing to spend on private investigators to try to dig up or make up some sort of criminal past on someone they are trying to stop, as they are trying to stop me and many others. The intimidation began in September 1997 when I was contacted by Elliot Abelson, a former mafia attorney who now works for Scientology. Gambino crime family, my porn cases in New York. Abelson said he was aware that I was funding Larry Wallersheim, who many of you know, and Ken Dandar, the attorney for the Lisa McPherson estate. It was not the case at the time Abelson said this with Ken Dandar, but now I thank Abelson for giving me that idea, because I have since indeed assisted Lisa McPherson's estate. During the course of our conversation, Abelson warned me that my family's stability and my financial stability were at risk because I was attacking Scientology. I suppose during the course of our discussion, I made it clear to him that I did not intend to capitulate. Within 2 weeks of that phone call, I received a call from extremely distant relatives in Tennessee who told me that Scientologists were there. These were Scientologists, not Scientology detectives, but actual Scientologists, who were doing a background check on me, going through all the public records that were available in my hometown of Nashville, Tennessee, where I last lived over 30 years ago. In November, I got a call from a woman at the Scientology org in Boston, whose name was Mary Frances Newey. In a subtle but firm way, she said that if I did not stop giving financial support to critics of Scientology, the church would attack me on 5 fronts: family, children, ex-wives, former business partners, and my federal and state tax status. The last one, given their current arrangements with the IRS, maybe they do have that authority now, I'm not sure. The morning after that phone call from Mary Frances Newey was the first time, but not the only time, that my children, who were 10 and 12 years old, were followed from our front door half a block down the street to our neighbor's house for carpool in the morning. This was not an attempt by Scientology to intimidate my children. This was an attempt by Scientology to intimidate me and my wife, because we dearly love our children. Later, this very same woman who had told me about these 5 points of attack that would take place signed a declaration witnessed by one of her colleagues named Kevin Hall, swearing that she never said any of these things to me. But when you hear what I have to say here today, you will know that they have done exactly what she promised. My hand's not shaking as much now, so I can drink. Soon after that call, I received the following letter from Elliot Abelson, the ex-mafia attorney now working for Scientology. who incidentally in California was overheard in the lobby of a courthouse saying that he could try a pornography case in his sleep. He's done it so many times. But he was there on a copyright infringement case at the time, though. Dear Mr. Minton, you appear to have undertaken the financial maintenance of a significant number of litigants adverse to Scientology churches in the United States. You have even become the patron of dog and pony show witnesses without legal claims, like the Youngs, who instigate disputes and sell their testimony to the litigants you underwrite. You're now even financing the travel of hate-filled individuals, some of whom have already been prohibited by courts from committing further acts of violence against members of the Churches of Scientology, from across the United States to the Church of Scientology's premises in Clearwater, Florida. You are in this manner a responsible party in fostering a climate of hatred in Clearwater, which endangers our staff and parishioners who work and live there. The distraction to church ministers and parishioners engaged in religious services by the potential hate crimes committed by individuals you are financing would not be occurring were it not for you going out of your way to foment their irrational hatred. If you have not realized it before, then recognize now that this creates a serious potential liability for you. A number of those with whom you have associated yourself through your patronage, such as Dennis Ehrlich and Keith Hinson, have engaged in threats and acts of violence, attempts at intimidation and scandal-mongering. Association with lawbreakers such as these, combined with the monetary demands that inevitably accompany their involvement in litigation or similar fertile areas for attempts of extortion, make your actions of interest to the prosecutors to whom such conduct has been referred. My client holds you, your associates and backers, financial or otherwise, personally responsible for any and all damages it has suffered or will continue to suffer as a result of your tortious, officious intermeddling in church affairs. The church will not tolerate such conduct. I demand that you immediately withdraw all financial support for such matters, and am warning you that you and those you are financing have crossed the threshold of legality. I advise you to inform me forthwith what you have done to cease fomenting and financing unlawful attacks against my client. None of which I have done.